UFC 306 is officially a wrap, but what is next for the contestants at the Sphere in this video? Hello and welcome to Bloodsport MMA. A successful event at the Sphere is in the books from last weekend. Let me give you the fights that I think make the most sense for the main characters, the main fighters of UFC 306. So I will just give you my picks for the three main fights, right? So let's start with the fight between Brian Ortega and Diego Lopes. For Brian Ortega, I gotta say, in my humble opinion, take at least half a year off. Right now, I would not book anything. I would really try to rethink the whole career and everything and just heal up, because he takes so much damage every fight. This is just, I don't know if that's the best way forward for him to go. I don't know if he will ever be champion like this. And yeah, it's so tough to see. He's always so beat up. He's too tough for his own good. And he takes way too much brain damage every fight. And he should definitely take a break after that beating by Diego Lopes. Talking about Diego Lopes, for him, it's a pretty tough spot because he is on the edge of a title shot. He just beat the number 3 ranked guy in Brian Ortega. The only guys that are in front of him is Max Holloway, who is scheduled to face Ilia Topuria next month, and Alexander Volkanovski, who is the long reigning champion, who says that he will only fight for the title next. Alexander Volkanovski came out and said his next fight will 100% be for the title, which means that Topuria fights Holloway now in October, and if you believe Volkanovski, which is a pretty reliable source normally, then the winner of that fight fights Volkanovski probably early 2025, which means if Diego Lopes insists on his title shot,
as far as I'm concerned, I'm number 1.
He needs to wait until like summer 2025. That's a real possibility that would be his next date if he wants to fight for a title, because I do believe by beating Brian Ortega, who is a number 3 ranked guy who just came off a submission against Yair Rodriguez, that he deserves to fight for the title, because who else is there? The perfect scenario, in my opinion, the most sensible thing would be he fights Alexander Volkanovski in November, Madison Square Garden, or that's probably too early for Diego Lopes. Let's say December card, he fights Alexander Volkanovski, winner of that fights the winner of Topuria against Holloway. But that's not how things work if you believe Volkanovski, which means that Lopes can either sit out or, what I think makes most sense, because you just never know. Then, I don't know, Volkanovski, let's just say Ilia Topuria beats Holloway and then Volkanovski beats Ilia Topuria in the rematch, and then you have a trilogy fight that's coming and then you're waiting for even longer. Whilst the other guys are advancing and fighting other guys and making their claim for the title shot that is bigger than your claim, you know what I mean? So I think what makes most sense for Diego Lopes at this stage, if the Volkanovski fight is not happening, which I think it will be the case, that he fights the loser of the title fight. Because Max Holloway and Ilia Topuria are both very high names, very big names, that if he beats one of them, he's immediately secured a shot for a title fight. Immediately. Loser, because the fight is happening in such short time, it's in 1 month. Fight the loser of Max Holloway against Ilia Topuria, and then, yeah, if you win that fight, you have the title shot secured and you stay active in competition. Then we have Alexa Grasso against Valentina Shevchenko. I don't want to see a quadrilogy, not at all. Alexa Grasso won the first fight by submission, but she was not dominating before that. The second fight she lost, in my opinion, was very close, it was a draw. And this fight she got dominated. So now, I believe that Mano Fiorot deserves her title shot against Valentina Shevchenko. I think that's a great fight. Mano Fiorot against Valentina Shevchenko should be next. And Alexa Grasso should, in my opinion, I think Erin Blanchfield will be a fun fight. That will be a really fun fight, and whoever wins that fight is immediately back in the title picture. So why not make Erin Blanchfield against Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko against Mano Fiorot. Then, the main event that happened Saturday night. Merab, Dvalishvili and Suga. For Suga Sean O'Malley, I would say there are several options for him. There are two main options that I would consider. There's a third one, which is Petr Yan. Petr Yan also called him out for a rematch. It's a fun fight. I would like to see it again. There is some stake in there because it was such a close one the first time, right? But I'm not the biggest fan of rematches if you have other options. So what I would rather see is if you go from what I would like to see stylistically, which would be the most fun fight for a neutral fan. I'm not a neutral fan, but for a neutral fan, the most fun fight, the most sensible fight would be Corey Sandhagen. Because Corey Sandhagen and Suga, that's a dream fight for every martial arts fan. I mean, they're both so freaking good and they have a similar length and reach, and it would just be such a fun chess match. But I think what makes most sense for Suga is to fight Deiveson Figueiredo, because Deiveson Figueiredo is at the verge of a title shot. He literally is on a 3-5 winning streak in the bantamweight division. He never lost a fight in the bantamweight division, right? He just beat a top contender a few weeks ago, and he is already in talks for a title shot because of it, right? So Deiveson is in a better spot than Corey because Corey's coming off a loss, and Deiveson is the better matchup for Sean O'Malley to begin with. It's a matchup that Sean O'Malley, I would favor him because of his length, because of the stylistics. I would definitely favor Sean O'Malley in the fight, but Deiveson has everything to win the fight as well. Deiveson is a phenomenal fighter and so good, but I would love that matchup as a Sean O'Malley fan, especially, and I'm trying to pick a fight for the fighter, right? For Sean O'Malley, I would like to see him fight Deiveson Figueiredo, because if he beats Deiveson, he's immediately back for a title shot. If he beats Deiveson, he gets a title shot, like 100%. If he beats Sandhagen, yeah, as well. But I just think the Deiveson fight makes more sense. Deiveson's coming off a win or 3 wins. Sandhagen's coming off a loss. Deiveson is the stylistically better matchup for Sean O'Malley. So I would love to see that fight, maybe even in Brazil. Normally the UFC goes to Brazil in January, but why not make Suga Shane against Deiveson co-main event in January in Brazil? In my opinion, that's a great idea and that would be a lot of fun. So that is my pick for Suga Sean O'Malley. And for Merab, it's pretty easy. I mean, it needs to be, in my opinion, it needs to be Umar. I like the stylistic matchup. It will not be the most exciting fight for a casual fan probably, because they are just, yeah, it's gonna be a weird one. Also with the trash talk and stuff will be probably really weird. Whenever Merab is fighting Russian, he makes it all about politics and it just gets weird, but I would like to see that fight stylistically. I think it's a fun matchup for hardcore MMA fans. And I do believe Umar deserves the title shot because he beat Corey. I always said he did not deserve the Corey fight. I think Umar, if I'm completely honest, did not deserve the Corey fight because he beat no one before that, no one. Then he just got a top 5 fight out of nowhere, out of literally nowhere. But he got the fight and he beat Sandhagen decisively. So you gotta pay all the respect to Umar, and you gotta admit that Umar, skill-wise, deserved that fight against Corey. He did not deserve it in general, but skill-wise, you saw that he belonged in there with Corey, and he proved to be the perfect contender. So that's why, if you beat Corey Sandhagen, you deserve a title shot, in my opinion. So I would love to see Merab Dvalishvili against Umar Nurmagomedov for the UFC Bantamweight title. I would schedule that as a co-main event or something in December, because Merab likes to fight a lot. Merab is always fit and healthy, kind of, you know what I mean? So December seems like a good idea in my opinion. Then he can rest for 1 month and then have a 2-month training camp, 6-7 weeks, perfect. But yeah, I do believe that's great matchmaking by me. Write in the comments, what do you think about it? Do you think horrible matchmaking? What would you make different? What did you agree with? Write in the comments, you guys. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, I would appreciate that. Check out the Bloodsport merch, bloodshop.net, worldwide free shipping with the code FREE. Check it out, several collections available. Stay bloody, you guys. And until the next one, bye-bye. Bloodsport out.